Russian President Vladimir Putin says his country is preparing to retaliate against the European Union and the United States for their Ukraine sanctions. Moscow has already banned food products from a number of countries, and a Russian troop buildup on Ukraine's border is raising some fears of an invasion. Tom Barton is following developments in Moscow. And Tom, how far does the Russian response go?
Well, we've seen in the last few hours quite a ramping up, and it all follows a declaration by Russian President Vladimir Putin, a declaration which was marked by rather a straightforward announcement. We've seen a number of bans on exports of food items since these sanctions have come in. It seems to be the standard response of the Russians at the moment, the one that they keep coming out with. But it's always been under what at least those under those food bans considered to be the guise of breaching the health regulations that Russia has for the import of foreign food, often been seen as rather a thin veil for what is a political move. But now that any pretense that it is to do with health and safety is gone. Now that Vladimir Putin has said a list should be drawn up of restrictions and bans on food for all those countries that have imposed sanctions on Russia. Potentially a huge list, and two new entries on that list coming in right at the start: a ban or at the very least restrictions on US chicken imports to Russia, and vegetables and fruit from the EU as well. And there is much more besides.
Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev has threatened retaliation for the grounding of a subsidiary of national airline Aeroflot because of EU sanctions, with a Russian newspaper reporting that European flights to Asia over Siberia could be banned. And more responses might be on the way, according to the president.
The Russian government has already proposed some retaliatory measures to the so-called sanctions imposed by some countries. I think in the current situation, in order to provide local producers with work, we could think about it.
Russia's state-controlled food watchdogs have added Romanian beef and cattle imports to the list of banned food, which already includes Ukrainian dairy products and soybeans and Polish fruit, and may extend to more European produce and US chicken.
Other signs of the West are being targeted. One Russian lawmaker has asked for investigations into Burger King and KFC products. And McDonald's is in the crosshairs of two separate government-controlled inspection agencies.
A number of Russian tourist firms have collapsed, they say because of a recommended travel ban on employees of Russia's law and order apparatus over security concerns caused by the Ukraine crisis, as well as a worsening economic environment.
For now, citizens are content. But the question is, how long will this contentment last? I fear if the economy goes back down, then this contentment will disappear.
And a slowing of the Russian economy could hurt Vladimir Putin's domestic support. But as NATO raises fears of an invasion, amid a reported build-up of 20,000 Russian troops along Ukraine's border, Moscow speaks of what it calls a humanitarian situation in Ukraine.
Some are saying that this could be a cheap way for President Vladimir Putin to try and get some measure back against these sanctions leveled against Russia. Others say, though, it will only end up hurting ordinary Russians.
Tom Barton live for us in Moscow. Thank you so much.